on this week's episode of Forever I Do.
But then when they bust the curtain, this Dahlia, and she stepped through the curtain, a piece of teeth, king teeth like a dead dog. It has, if you look in the pictures, or you see, maybe the teeth just came so very, very wide, and the camera caught that. That was just my moment, just to see her coming down.
I did a bride already and didn't even know that she was a bride until she said, oh, I want I do on my finger. So she did a regular gel manicure and she just wanted us to write I do.
I always suggest a second dress, even a romper, or like a nice, sexy, stretchy number, so you have the flexibility and the comfort and you're cool, right? But what you have oftentimes now is brides that want a completely different wedding look.
This is Forever I Do. For these educators, their marriage hits the right tones. We talk 8 years of togetherness with Leighton and PeterGaye Jones.
We met at work. We both taught for a couple of years at high school.
Yes, but then I think we met a little more intimately when we both served on the choir, and I was a choir director. And I think it was interesting because I in rehearsals, I throw shoes. So when it is that they are not doing what I asked to do, I take off my shoes and I throw at them. And her first thing was, if I fling your shoes, I'll lick me. And that was always her reaction. When I'm throwing the shoes, she's always like, but we never took it to mean anything. And it's interesting that actually when we got married and we were getting dressed in separate spaces, that the cameraman asked the same question, and that was the very same story we shared in terms of just remembering very vividly when I threw the first shoe in rehearsals and her reaction to say it.
May I say that I was a senior choir? Adults?
Teachers, yeah, the teachers. So for me, it changed. There are two specific things that happened. One, I remember when we were having an event at my church, because we didn't go to the same church, and she came down and we were there and we were just helping out to fix up. And I remember I was inside helping to fix up, and then she, not being a member of the church, went to where the ladies were and asked, can I get a pan? They were doing some stuff with the chicken. And she stayed. Now she lived way off, and she stayed. She just jumped in and helped the ladies with the chicken and just got her hands very dirty while we were inside fixing up until like about 11, somewhere there in the night. And then at the end, so that was the first thing that hit me, because I don't remember how we ended up down there, because she was waiting on me and she just jumped in, and I liked the fact that she was able to just fit into the context, and that was the first thing. The second thing that made me know was when my mother was getting inaugurated as bishop, and we went over to be with her for the weekend, and Mom had written her script and we were going it through with her, and made some corrections and stuff, and we were dead tired, and I fell asleep, and PeterGaye stayed up with Mommy until about 5 a.m. in the morning, practicing the script, ensuring that she's a teacher of English, so you know what that means, and practicing. And when I woke up, they stayed all of that time up, just trying to ensure that she got everything done right. And then I remember when I came over, she didn't even know this. I remember I called my friend, it was Ainsley, and I said to Ainsley, Ashi. And Ainsley said, oh, you mean? And I shared those two things with him, and I said, Ashi, that's it, I'm done. That was it.
So we had been friends for a while. I just never saw a relationship. He was just a friend. for many years. What made the change for me was the fact that he treated me with respect. I cannot say I know 5 men off the top of my head who have interacted with me without some suggestions of, you know what I mean. Leighton never did. It was always respect. Nothing that he did could not be above board. And I thought, yes, Lord, thank you, Jesus. A number of persons were shocked. I wonder if she's pregnant. In the immediate family, they were supportive in every way that you could possibly imagine. My sister lives overseas and she made several trips just to be present, just to go with me to buy shoes, to find my dress, and for all of these things she made a trip to Jamaica. And my brother was there, my mother was elated. So the immediate family, there were, and I'm not going to paint a pretty picture, there were some persons who were not amused. I remember at one point Leighton received a text message.
Oh yes.
You want to tell him what was in the text message?
It was just really asking me if I knew who she was and what she had been involved in, and she's not the one for me. And to this day, I don't know who it is. The person did reveal themselves. We talked about it. I showed it to her, and then we were just like, okay, and we just moved on and we continued. On my side, I called my mom. And I said it to mommy, and mommy said, I know. I was like, what do you mean? She said, she knew from we came over for inauguration. I don't know what she saw and felt, but that was it. When I called my dad, I said, Daddy, I'm going to get married. And he's like, okay. And I said, you're not going to ask me soon? He said, no. I was like, when I called Patrick and I said, Patrick, my brothers, and I said, Patrick, I'm going to get married, and he said, okay. He said, that's it. So I said, you're not going to ask his who? He said, no, it's who, man. I said, who? A year before that, she was judging a competition for us at church, and my brother was coming into the island. And I left the competition, went to the airport, picked him up, went back to church. And then at the end of church, we drove her home, because she drove her car, but we drove behind her. She got home. And that was a year ago. And it was just a gentlemanly thing to do. Patrick said, is PeterGaye, man? I said, PeterGaye, why would you say that? He said, yes, man, from last year when we drive down at church. And that was it. So they never, because I never went to them. We never went to any family functions to say and introduced her as my girlfriend or we were dating or anything like that. So when I called, they all just said, we know. So I guess they all picked up on something and just never said anything. It's like, we never had the traditional way of getting there. I don't know that we've had a proposal to date.
No getting down on the knees.
There was no getting down on the knees. There was no. Interestingly, like she said, we were friends. But then what used to happen is we usually do devotions together, either in the mornings or in the night. So we'll be on the phone and be using our daily bread, and we'll be having conversations, and we have prayer, and we go through our devotionals. And as time progressed, in those devotions, we started discussing color, wedding, what we wanted for wedding. We haven't asked each other yet, but we started having those kinds of conversations, and we just ended up to the point where I said, okay, I'm going to speak to my parents. So we have not had a proposal moment, or it just happened in our devotions and it just blossomed, and we just said, okay, fine, we're going to talk to Pastor about it, who was both our vice principal at the time.
I think, but I would probably consider the proposal moment the Sunday morning in church.
Oh yeah, well, we
decided to do our public engagement Sunday morning. One rainy Sunday morning.
Well, she prayed for the rain because she was nervous. Because our pastor had met with us and we decided we wanted to bless our rings and do an engagement in church. And she prayed for it to rain. Well, I don't know if she prayed for it to rain because she was really nervous to be in front of so many people. Because they all in church didn't know. So it wasn't like we had been going out and people knew we were going steady or anything. They saw her come to church and knew she was my friend. They knew we worked on a lot of the youth things at church together. She judged competition. So she's been there a number of times. They knew Pastor was our vice principal. So they knew there was that connection. So I didn't think anybody kind of figured, we were steady or anything. So that Sunday was really going to be the Sunday when it would have revealed to everyone that we were intending to get married.
Afterwards, during, before, there was always this moment as I went along. The biggest moment probably was when everybody left and then we were together, man and wife. And then you have to face the reality. So I can no longer think of me, it's upset all times. Yeah. You when everybody was gone.
I mean, every moment for me was an awe moment. In the sense, we were planning and putting things together. Well, I mean, working at the JCDC, you're the organizer, and so you coordinate, and so nobody, and I thought I was meticulous, nobody's as meticulous as she is. I mean, down to the point where the covers for the chairs were ordered months in advance, paid for, and so those kinds of things in terms of just the down to the details, so we weren't under any stress planning for our wedding, which was great. We did all the invitations ourselves. We tried, we failed, we just did everything by ourselves. We were like 3-4 months in advance of everything. Our parents, and so we were just down to the T. The fact that our friends just came and just made everything happen. I remember Mr. Gordon saying to me at the wedding when we were done, because we had a listing of the order in which we want the photographs to be taken, with whom at this point, who will come to us in the other space to take pictures there. And I remember when we were done and we were outside, the ushers were outside, having fun and talking, and I was like, come on, let's go get it done. And Mr. Gordon came and he said, it's your wedding, just enjoy it. You and I just enjoyed. Stop coordinate. We said, sir, they must go, And just every moment that everybody participated in was just but my moment, and you could see it in the pictures and on the camera, I have a picture where Leighton and I, my best friend, was standing at the altar, and she came through the door, and as far as she knew, she had selected this song that she wanted to march down the aisle, and that's been forever. And so we worked it out, even in the rehearsals, it was played and everything, but at that time, there was a Father Holland song that the entire team and I had rehearsed. So we said, okay, fine, so that music will play, she will know when she's to come up, and then guess what, it's just gonna stop. And when it stopped, she stopped, and she was about to, but can't malfunction her song that she has waited years for, and then I started to sing. But then when they bust the curtain, Dahlia, and she stepped through the curtain, a piece of king teeth like a dead dog. If you look in the pictures, you see, my teeth just skin so very, very wide, and the camera caught me, and that was just my moment, just to see her coming down, and then I was just like, oh, I'm supposed to sing, and then they cued me, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to sing. So that really, if there was to be one moment, that would have been it for me.
Still to come.
Yeah. She bought a white settee and lived alone in her house in a white settee. That therefore means that she never did expect a man. Now when we came together, me come from here, they lie down in a settee. Now that was...
But first, we get polished by Yanique. Plus, Sara Stanford returns with alternate bridal gown advice and more from Sara E. Bridal.
White. Most persons want an off-white look for their nails. No, right? Really short, off-white. Faded French is in, so most brides nowadays come for faded French as well. Some just come with the regular French, and some persons come with French, color scheme on one finger. Yeah, so not really Google and Co. I've seen red nails for weddings, and the color scheme with the French. So yeah, probably a flowers design resembling the bouquet. Yeah, very fancy. Rhinestones, crystals, you name it. Christians do the nails thing, but some will come and say, Yanique, I just want it subtle. I did a bride already and didn't even know that she was a bride until she said, oh, I do on my finger. So she did a regular gel manicure and she just wanted us to write I do. So I was like, you getting married? She said, yeah. I said, you never tell me. She's like, oh, it's not fussy or anything. I'm like, okay. So you have those people as well. Mm-hmm. If anything out of the norm, it would be like probably long nails, sculptured long nails. Yeah, that's the only extra I've gotten for a wedding request. Most times, some of them want the ring finger to be really fussy. Some persons just a simple French or a simple off-white acrylic nail manicure. I've seen brides doing manicure, just a manicure for their wedding. Well, the most difficult request I've gotten was a sculptured nail, and I had to do 3 different layers, as in like white at the tip, glitter, clear, then white again, then you have the flesh pink on the nail bed. So that was really difficult with rhinestones. She was very fussy. It took 8 hours to do her nails. Yes. Yes, it was very, very, very fussy. I had to do 3Ds on some of the nails. So just imagine, she had no nails. You have to build the extensions, then put the design on it, then do crystals, then do 3D flowers. So yeah, it took a good while. For my press-ons, I call them polished on, because it's mostly just gel polish and hand designs. Persons can just order it, just send your design, and we'll work on the price and whatever else there is. But it starts at $3.5 for press-ons. If a bride doesn't know what she wants, any at all, I just ask the color scheme. They would probably show it to me and thing, and I just do my thing afterwards, and all the time they like it. So yeah, I just try to get to know them and what they like, and then I just work with that. For me, at first I would like to set an appointment. I like to do my brides first, so that they can get that out of the way and then do everything else after. Bridal appointment, I would say that like 2 or 3 weeks before. Because my regular appointments I take 1 week before. So once I know I have that doing, then I'll just leave that slot out for them. I just close the day, so nobody else comes that day. Just the bride, the party. As long as they are willing to work with me. Because you have some persons, they don't come with the bride. Oh, that person not going to come until after work and all of that. And sometimes it just throw off the whole time thing. Because the bride as well has to go on the road and do some stuff. So she don't come in the morning, then the person that's supposed to come in the morning don't come, and it just get messed up. They normally send me a picture of what they would like, or the color scheme, or the type of design, anything they might want. They might just send it before. Instagram, polished by Yanique. Phone number 876-587-1339. Yes, and you just ask for Yanique or Unique Yanique. Hi, I'm Yanique, and you're watching Forever I Do.
Something else. The practical side of it is when you get married and you go through the whole ceremony and the formalities of the reception, especially these mermaid dresses, they're very restrictive. We're in Jamaica. If you're getting married in August and you're having an outdoor wedding and you're under a fabulously decorated tent, it's hot. Right? So having a dress to change into that will give you the flexibility to move around and dance, give you the flexibility to plop down beside Auntie Gina and sit down and talk with her after all the formalities are done is great. So for me, the second gown, in my opinion, doesn't always have to be, and it's not necessarily practical if it is a second gown. I always suggest a second dress, even a romper, or like a nice sexy stretchy number, so you have the flexibility and the comfort and you're cool, right? But what you have oftentimes now is brides that want a completely different wedding look, and that's great as well. If you have it in the budget and you want to do it, I say go ahead and do it. But just know at some point in time you may want to find, even if it's a third dress change, something that you can just relax in and enjoy the rest of your evening until, when you get ready to leave for your honeymoon. Not everyone, sometimes you can see an earring or necklace set or a headband or a tiara and say, oh my God, that's so pretty. But does it work with your dress is the next question. So another service that I've been offering under Sara E. Bridal is my bridal styling services. And what that is once you select a dress, or even before you select a dress, I can go through that whole process with you, and I put together a styling board for you. So we'll have the type of dress and we look at all the accessories. A bride doesn't always need big earrings, big necklace, big bracelet, tiara, veil, ear chain, all these kind of things, because you don't want to give people too much to look at and they lose sight of you. Your dress and accessories, you are supposed to wear them. They are not supposed to wear you. So I usually suggest, especially if it's a dress that has a lot of coverage up here, sleeve, then definitely let's forget the necklace and go with some small drop earrings. If we're doing a strapless, we can do a necklace, right? If you're gonna do a more fancy sparkly necklace, then stick to some knobs, right? If you're gonna do a more dramatic chandelier earring, then, and you definitely want, because for me, I'm an earring girl. I don't wear chains very often. There's some ladies who are necklace girls who don't wear earrings very often. And if that's you, then a simple chain with a nice little pendant, a little diamond, a Swarovski crystal, even a crucifix if that's close to your heart, and then some earrings works as well. If your dress has a lot of back detail, I usually suggest do an updo. You know, you didn't spend all the money on that back detail to hide it. Yeah, so I usually suggest an updo. So, but it's a confusing thing for some ladies to understand and kind of grasp. So that's one of the reasons I came up with this new service on the Sara E Bridal, which is my bridal service, my bridal styling. So I can just help you put everything together. And Sara E Bridal is my new set of services where I have my book and my bridal styling and my yoga services, which is your online bridal assistant, which is basically an online wedding planner. And that is at saraebridal.com.
Thanks, Yanique and Sarah. Now let's get back to our couple, Leighton and PeterGaye.
The absence of selfishness. I think sometimes he thinks about me more than I think about myself, and I'm not being weird. I appreciate the fact that, listen to me, 99.9% of the things in my closet, Leighton bought them, including the outfit today, including the perfume I'm wearing. There are just so many things about him that after 8 years, I'm so sure. His involvement in church, those of us who know Leighton, he's constantly involved at church, he's constantly involved with young people, he's constantly involved with senior people, he is involved in a number of outreach programs, you name it. The softness and the warmth that many people don't see. Yes. Yeah. And I could go on and on. The romantic side that a lot of people don't.
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows that I'm a very nice person. I'm a people person, I guess. For me, I'm very fast going. She slows me down, and which is good. Whether it is that it's in a harsh way, where she gets angry, or, I like the fact I've always said, because I've always been involved, I wanted to get married to somebody who knew what they were about in church and they had their own lives, so that I didn't want a situation where my wife always had to be saying, "Where are you? Come home." I would also want to have the experience of saying, come home now, what time for you, come home, I want to get home, and so I remember when we got married, I was at the JCDC, and that took us around the world. What I loved was she never said no. And so if I call and I say, at 11 o'clock, I have to run down to Linstead, you want to come? She dressed and she ready, and at Linstead we got, and we did road shows till 4 in the morning, and she never said no to it. Well, you say, once it's a road, she ready. And so that kind of a thing, I liked the fact that she was there to support me in all of those areas. And yeah, I like that. That's cool.
There are ups and downs. We're not going to paint a pretty picture here. We're two different individuals. I was one of the older brides, and so I came into the marriage with my opinions and my perspectives. So I had to learn to tone down. I had to learn, I have this phrase where I said, I had to learn to wait on him. So there are times when I could just see the thing happening in 5 minutes, and I'm saying, dear, this will happen in 5 minutes, and he's not seeing it. So I had to learn to stop and wait. We've had our different views on all sorts of things. One of the things, though, and many things, we have learned is that there is just no arguing, no quarreling. You wait until the right time, and you try as best as you can. I just don't always get it out right, but you try as best as you can to say what you really mean in a way that is not offensive. There are always challenges. I anticipate more, but as we go along, we'll learn to deal with it.
we were two individuals living on our own, having our own, well, may I just hasten to say, hush there, she bought a white settee and lived alone in her house in a white settee. That therefore means that she never did expect no man. Now when we came together, you know, me come from here, they lie down in a settee. Now that was... So we eventually got to the place where we wrapped it over. So it's now brown. So it's okay now for me to lie in it. But it's just... The good thing about it is we were friends before for years. And I mean, not with anything that was untoward. We were just real friends. And I remember when we were doing our counseling, that was one of the things we had said to Pastor. Because we were friends, we figured we were able to communicate. And that was important for us. There are times when I'm afraid to speak or to say, and she just knows when to nudge, and she just does a little nudge, and then I'll be able to speak, and we continue through. And once we're able to have the conversation, we're good. And so, we learn each day about each other. We've never lived together, so living together, you're learning the different things about each other, and then also have to make the compromise. We've lived alone before we got married, and so you got used to the way you wanted things. Now you have to adjust, and we do so accordingly.
It's got the coming together. I think the settee problem. I think the settee just changing the settee was symbolic for me in our coming together. So there is no more me with what I want. There is no more Leighton with what he wants. But it's just us and what suits us best.
When I met PeterGaye, everybody who knows PeterGaye as very bold. And PeterGaye is a go-getter, and she just steps out, and that's one of the things that attracted me to her. The fact that she just knew what she wanted. She has a mind, and she just goes, and it doesn't matter what she's going to get it. I never was a PeterGaye to me until we were married. And that never, anybody did tell me that, I tell him a lie, never tell. And so, but that's in our space. I realized, my wife is timid.
Which is a good thing, because I can be me in our space.
Right.
I do have a little shy thing, Yes. Oh, from the other day I noticed he just keep forgetting things. Now my husband does not forget names. He does not forget faces. But from the other day he was like, what's the name of so again? I was like,
Age.
Yeah, possibly old age. You know who you are before you enter this thing. If you don't know who you are, you're gonna get lost in the melee. You cannot be effective in a marriage if you don't know who Christ is. Because one of the ways of knowing who you are is knowing who Christ is and what he has designed you for. So I don't think you're going to come in there and not know if you don't know who you are. You're not going to find yourself in it. Find yourself first. And then you have to refine yourself, because the coming together is a new and a different context. You're not interacting with somebody on a daily basis. So understand the changes, and changes will come, and you have to change to facilitate these changes. Prayer and making that connection together, it is a must. You're going to waste your time if you do not have Christ in the middle of it. Yes, it will work. You don't want it to work. You want it to be a space where you flourish, where you learn, where you motivate, where you support. You cannot be selfish. You've got to support your partner. And support sometimes means forgetting what you think you need at the time. Yeah? Forget you. This is where he is. You've got to support him, whatever it takes. As long as whatever he's doing is in Christ, and thank you, I don't have a problem with that. You have to be supportive. You have to communicate. You have to communicate about everything, especially finances. Yes. Yes.
For me, I'd say to people, like I say to our young people at church, get married to your friend. It's important. The friendship is important, because there are going to come times in the marriage when the lovey-dovey and the romance is not there, and it's the friendship that keeps it going, because different things happen. When you were dating, he never lost his job. And so when he loses his job and you're together, how will he react at that time? He might not be in the mood to have romance and that kind of a thing. How are you his friend at that time? And that will help you through. Because if you were never friends before, then if you were just lovers and all, into all of that, then when it gets to the point where the test of the friendship to keep, which is the base, then you're going to have a challenge.
I'd also say don't hesitate to find support outside. So I won't probably see things from a male's perspective. What's so wrong in finding a man of God, somebody who is trustworthy and open and honest to say, what is the male's perspective on this situation? Because I'm having a difficult time seeing it. Or you might need together to go find help. You may encounter an issue that you just can't see eye to eye with. Find somebody who you know will give some serious sound advice and go have a talk.
Thank you so much, Leighton and PeterGaye. Here's to many more years of happiness and wedded bliss.
Hi, we're Leighton and PeterGaye, and you're watching Forever I Do.
On the next episode of Forever I Do,
there was a time when I realized that I'm beginning to fall for this person. My heart is getting connected later that year, and I really became scared, and I was like, to the point where I took a plane. I got on the plane in December of that same 2013. I said, you are what they call too good to be true.
Plus, we capture your memorable moments with Jordache Jones from Dash Photography. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Makeup services by Nardine Makeup. Coordination and planning, Shakima Hines of Island Bride, Jamaica. Set decor, Thai Flora Luxe. Forever I Do is filmed on location at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, your wedding destination in Kingston, Jamaica.